So we are back in this sheep barn, and we had a new issue today. And that's one thing with livestock is always something happening. Always good to observe your livestock, and when they're perky and aware and looking around, ears are back, ruminants like sheep and lambs, goats, cows, if they're chewing their cud, all good signs. Babies, if they're nursing, good signs. But I have one sign today that I thought was unusual, and it caused me to really want to do a little more investigation. So I was out in the yard playing ball with my kids, and I heard this lamb just bawling for its mom. Meh, meh, meh. And so I went to investigate, and I found this lamb right here, front and center, this one right there. And he was just acting really weird. Just like there, he runs into a corner, bawling into the corner, kind of acting half blind, not fully blind, and kind of unstable. And do you notice how he tilts his head to the left, kind of staring at the wall? Even though I'm this close, all the other lambs have run away. He's not acting normal. He's not looking around. I mean, he does run away from me, so he is aware. Just really kind of unusual activity and behavior. And so kind of watched him a little bit more, and I had some suspicions of what it was. And in the comments, why don't you guys go ahead and see if you can guess what you think it might have been. But I'm going to tell you here in just a little bit. Because I had a steer do this about 2 years ago. Actually, I had two steers do this. They just went dopey. They just started staring at the wall, kind of like this lamb right now, staring at the feeder. It's got what's called a deficiency. It has what's called a thiamine deficiency. Thiamine is a product that is made in your pituitary glands, and it regulates different body functions. I'm going to have to do a little research on that. But it's essentially what's called polio in cattle. So at least one famous person you might know that had polio, that was President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But you just notice this lamb is not acting right. All the other lambs have run away. They're over here eating, or they're back here and they're looking at me and they're wondering, why are you in my pen? They're wandering around. This lamb still just staring at the feeder. And I'll be honest, this morning he ate fine, no issues. So I remembered what I had to do with my steer a couple years ago to treat it. But before I did anything, I texted a good friend of mine, Ken Parrott, who I bought my sheep from, who's been raising sheep for a lot longer than me, to confirm, and he kind of confirmed the idea. And so in order to treat this polio in lambs, we gave this little guy an injection of thiamine. And so I gave him a half a cc of 500 milligrams per milliliter of thiamine. And we're just going to kind of keep an eye on him. I'm going to do a little more research and identify what the kind of protocol will be. I just happen to have some thiamine in my cabinets in the house because I had the same problem with a steer a couple years ago. If I hadn't had thiamine, I would have had to go to a vet and have a vet prescribe it for me. Or you could have went to TSC or Rural King or a feed store, and you could have gotten some vitamin B complex, vitamin B12, which could have helped the problem, but not as good as straight thiamine. And so I'm going to do a little more research, and I will throw some updates on here on this little lamb. It is number 19. I don't know the name of it right now. Yeah, so there's just unusual things happen on the farm. There's one of them. Just never know what's going to happen. Got to keep your eyes peeled, watch for behaviors, because the cattle and the livestock, they will tell you when things are wrong. And so this was just a common observation. Noticed something was wrong, and hopefully we caught it early and we can take care of it. Thanks for watching. Okay, a little update on Calvin, the lamb with polio. This is him right here. This is 3 days after a diagnosis. And although I wouldn't say he's completely back on track, he's definitely feeling better. He's definitely getting closer back to normal. He's eating a little bit on his own, which is good because he was needing to be tubed. He can see a little bit better than he could, which is good, but you can see even there he's kind of not 100% back. Bottom line is it was 1/4 of a cc or 1/4 milliliter of thiamine, which was 500 milligrams of thiamine per milliliter. And I did that every 6 hours. And then I also gave him some steroid to slow down the swelling on his brain. And then I also, for a couple days, gave him an antibiotic to combat any possible infection because his immune system was beat down pretty bad. I did have to tube feed him for a few days. I'm going to keep an eye on him today. You can see him. He's there against the barn right over here. You can see his nose is all dusty. That's all his lambs there. Their noses are all dusty from eating corn or eating feed. And so he has been eating a little bit. So we'll see how he does, if he needs some more bottle feeding or not. We'll just see whether he takes back to mom. He is 5 weeks old. So, I mean, if he doesn't take back to mom, but he's eating grain, then we might just wean him and get him back going. So I just wanted to go and update. Calvin is doing much, much better. He was just basically standing in a corner for 2 days. And it's just nice to see him out running around like he is now. So a little bit of treatment and a little bit of patience. And he's back to close to being normal. And I would say in another day or two he'd be normal. All right, thanks for watching.